Hello, this is MOP, Misanthrope on Pilgrimage. Yesterday, Friday, it was October. Okay, what day is it? 18 Friday. I was watching Greek mythology YouTube videos by a Japanese YouTuber, and so he mentioned briefly about dark tourism, and I have never heard it before, even though I did few times already. There are many things that I have been doing without knowing what's the proper name, proper terminology, and maybe many people already know what the dark tourism is. Visit places or go traveling to place where human tragedy happened. Well, I guess doesn't have to be human also. That includes, I can say, let's, for instance, Ueno Zoo in Tokyo, where during World War II, the animals are put to sleep because no fund or no food for the animals. So I guess doesn't have to be human tragedy. It can be both human and animal. I should say living beings. And so the top examples can be like Hiroshima, Nagasaki, the atomic bomb memorial, and in Europe, in Poland, the Auschwitz-Birkenau concentration camp, and I guess in the United States, the Japanese descent internment camps also, if it's open for public now for as a educational purpose. And this summer my family and I went to stop by Amsterdam in Netherlands for layover for 5 or 6 hours before going to Hong Kong for cruise ship vacation. And when I came home after the cruise ship, I realized that I read internet articles about so-called World War II comfort women, and that also happened in Indonesia or Java, Indonesia, and that includes Dutch women and interracial women. Half Dutch, half Asian women, and also the native Indonesian women as well. And I think of that after the vacation, and I used to have a Japanese neighbor who is 20 years older than me, and she's from Japan also, and her husband is originally from Netherlands. And when they got married, her in-laws say something about the Japanese war crimes. So of course she didn't talk more of it because it was in a rushed situation. She and I are talking, and when did you guys meet, and when did we guys meet, and that kind of talk. And also this summer So we visited Hong Kong Historical Museum, and I was. You see, I'm not so. I'm a little bit worried or scared of looking at the graphic photo, but after all, I didn't see it, and possibly because it was a summer vacation that time in August, and next to the historical museum there was a science museum for children. So there are many young family with young children. Maybe that's why the historical museum didn't display like graphic stuff. Maybe not. They might have it on the stock. For instance, big museum they have they don't display everything they have. Like for instance, my neighbor, I mean the Smithsonian in Washington D.C. Like big fan of Smithsonian Museum or Smithsonian Institution. Every time they visit Smithsonian Museum, there are always new exhibition. So I would. I didn't ask the question, but I would assume like Hong Kong Historical Museum, if they do have graphic photos, they maybe not. I didn't ask that question, so all I have to do is just assuming. But if they do exhibit, there might be a age restriction, like has to be over how many years old. So that's my assumption. So I guess even I went to Caribbean cruise few times, and I guess beach and sunshine, even with Caribbean cruise, it could be there is a dark tourism factors because its invasion involves. So and then I would think if the countries, for instance, I am originally from Japan, and oftentimes I get worried, like countries and cities have like disliking or hatred or resentment towards Japan. Then sometimes I get worried, but I still go. And that can be somewhat dark tourism also. Then our coming up family vacation will be Detroit, Michigan next month. And I asked my husband the places in Detroit, the ghost towns, is that because of Japanese cars, Japanese vehicles like Toyota or Nissan, and then my husband is an American, and he's from Northeast United States, and then is it? And then I saw like workers like smashing Japanese car and stuff back in 1980s, possibly mid 80s, and then and he gave me a educational keyword, rust belt, rusty belt, rust belt cities around the like Ohio or those near Great Lakes. It's between East Coast to Midwest. So yeah, because of the industries die out, so I may want to look into rust belt or rust belt cities in the future. So so yesterday, the first time I heard about dark tourism, and I visited Hiroshima Memorial Park a few times, and also I visited Holocaust Museum both in DC and Los Angeles, California. In California, the name of the museum is Museum of Intolerance or something, but in DC, the name of the museum is Holocaust Museum. I don't know if those museums are affiliated or same family or what, but in the museum in Los Angeles, that was my homework assignment from art and design class. And in DC, Holocaust Museum is my neighbors, who is third and fourth generation of Hawaiian Japanese family. They invited, Miss MOP, do you want to go with us? And they, oh yes, sure. So I went there. Yeah. With that Hawaiian family, I also visited Gettysburg. Also, Gettysburg is almost border of state of Maryland and Pennsylvania. The famous, super famous place for Civil War. Yeah. So the dark tourism can be a good friend for misanthrope or anti-natalism. So it's very interesting, and I will look into it. Yeah. Thank you, whoever listened to me. Yes. Someday I would like to go to near Naples, Italy, the Pompeii, and all those like a list of destination for dark tourism or grief tourism. Thank you so much, and have a great evening.